So a few days ago, they released the Starfinder field test number 3. So I figured it'd be fun to go over this together and just look at what's in here. So full disclaimer, I have never played Starfinder before. I've played Pathfinder both first and second edition. Huge fan of Pathfinder second edition. Starfinder second edition is going to line up and be completely compatible with Pathfinder second edition. They use a lot of the same rules and everything, and they're compatible. So I'm very excited for it. I mean, it's basically new Pathfinder content, but in space. Now, I've been playing TTRPGs since I was 10 years old, so over 22 years, no, 23 years actually, and mostly just D&D and other fantasy RPGs. I remember I had some Star Wars Die 20 rule books when I was younger, and I thought it was cool to do the space combat and stuff, but I don't think I ever played anything related to it, actually. But as playing in general, I prefer, I prefer a fantasy RPG to a sci-fi one, but after playing fantasy for 22 years, the idea of dipping the toes in sci-fi, doing space travel and aliens actually sounds really appealing and really cool. It's just something different to do. So I'm really curious to read about this. Before we get into Field Test 3, they did release Field Test 1, which had the soldier, which is different from the fighter. They have Constitution as their key attribute. They have some suppressing fire debuffs where they basically use a machine gun to kind of hold people down, so they take some penalties to stuff. So they had some pretty cool stuff going on. They also released Field... Oh yeah, I forgot they had some monsters in here too, which is pretty neat. They also released Field Test 2. This one had the Spellcaster, the Mystic. I had forgot about this at first. I thought maybe I missed this, but then I remembered that as I looked at it, it came back to me. They have the Vitality Network, where basically they get some healing to share between their mystic bonds, and they get some spontaneous spellcasting, primal or divine. So there's some cool stuff going on with them too. But that's all in the past, so I just want to do a real quick run by of that. They also did get some new spells, which are awesome, such as Doom Scroll, one of the best named scroll spells ever. And yeah, just some other cool sci-fi spells. Delete. That's a great spell name for a sci-fi campaign. But let's get back to Field Test 3. Now that they previewed 2 classes, Field Test 3 looks at the Ancestries, 2 of them in particular. I guess they were referred to as species in the past. Now they're called Ancestries. There were races before that. Terminology for this keeps changing, but everyone knows what it is. They're really big on the cantina, referring to the Star Wars cantina with the bar with a whole bunch of different races all chilling together. They want that kind of vibe and attitude for Starfinder 2nd Edition. And apparently, in the original, there was over 100 playable species, and I went on Archives of Nephis, the Starfinder version, and counted, and indeed, there were over 130 different races that you could be in Starfinder First Edition. A lot of them were borrowed from Pathfinder and stuff like that, so you had dwarves and, I guess, goblins and other stuff like that, but still, over 130 different races. So they're saying that they want to get up to that number, but also in first edition, the stats for each race were really simple and basic, and for this they really want to expand it out and make each species have several pages to themselves with lots of details of their culture, flavor, backstory, and then lots of mechanical differences. So they're going to aim to get to that number, but they're going to take it at a much slower pace. So in this one, they're going to have 2 ancestries, the android and the Vesk. This is interesting because Pathfinder 2nd Edition has the android as a kind of futuristic race flung back to the past of fantasy RPGs and mixing those together. So they wanted to really have a ancestry that was in Pathfinder, but have it in Starfinder, and have them be kind of compatible and be different but similar, so that's interesting. And then the Vesk is a Pathfinder exclusive species ancestry. And they posted a survey online on which species people wanted to see previewed, and these were the 2 that won, it sounds like. So let's get into the Android. I'm not going to go read word by word all of the flavor stuff, but I will summarize some of it, especially because I think the Android actually has quite a bit of interesting stuff. Let's read through the might and others. So you might try to avoid having the others take advantage of you, seek to understand your purpose in the wider galaxy, and judge others based on how they treat service workers, blue collar laborers, fans, or pets. Others probably have trouble parsing your emotions or understanding when you express them. Secretly covet your lack of aging. Have some level of guilt for their ancestries' use of your ancestors as labor. So those are some basic stuff with it. There's actually quite a bit of interesting tidbits that are hidden in the other stuff going on here. So it talks also about how androids are diverse, how they have curious origins. There is a myriad of cultures, meaning they can be found anywhere in the galaxy. Most are their most specialized birthing sites called foundries. Other variants of androids, such as the androids on Galarian from the Pathfinder RPG, were primarily biological, but androids in the modern era incorporate more technological components and synthetic elements into their bodies. Androids need to eat and sleep, but they don't reproduce, they don't age, and they have no innate concept of gender, though many express humanoid gender identities and shift fluidly between them. So I think it's very cool that by default androids are non-binary. But you can also have androids that are more gender fluid, or androids that really kind of hold up a particular gender. So I think that's kind of really cool that they have that just from the get-go. That's built into them. They also have androids with versatile heritages, are often the results of experimentations or planar catastrophes, or they were born in a specialized foundry that produces unique variants of their kind. So for anyone that doesn't know, Pathfinder 2 has versatile heritages, such as you can have demon blood in you, or angel blood in you, or some kind of elemental-like origin. That can be mixed in with androids too, so you can have an android angel. You can have a demonic android. You can have a fire elemental android. And I think it sounds really cool. I think an android built like from the plane of fire, like that's just awesome. That's really cool. And there's some others. There's shapeshifter ones. There's witches and hag ones. You have a Dampier. You can have a half vampire, half android. If you want to get really bizarre and out there, so that's just cool. That's amazing. Um, Society. Oh, look, some names. You have lots of names with numbers in them. Beliefs are pretty straightforward. Before we get to the heritages, let's go back up here. 8 hit points. So kind of middle of the road. Pathfinder size medium, speed 25 feet, normal. Dexterity boosts, attribute boosts. Dexterity and intelligence. So they're very agile, they're very smart. Can attribute flaw, charisma. It's hard to understand their emotions and stuff like that. Languages, common, the regional language of your choice, additional language equal to 1 plus your intelligence modifier. Since you got the boost to intelligence, you'll probably be versed in more than one language. Traits, android human, low light vision. Constructed, your synthetic body resists ailments better than that of a purely biological organism. You gain a +1 circumstance bonus to saving throws against disease, poison, and radiation. I wonder how much radiation comes up in Starfinder. Potentially a lot. Hopefully you're not going to too many dungeon crawls through nuclear factory reactors. Emotionally unaware, you sometimes find it difficult to process and express complex emotions. You take a -1 circumstance penalty to diplomacy and performance checks and to perception checks to sense motive. So again, the android's probably not going to be your face of the party with a charisma flaw, and they're not good with emotions. You don't want your android to do the talking, you want your androids to be the smart people. Although they do get more languages, so they might do a little bit of talking, but hopefully that's more of like reading texts rather than talking to people. Moving on, we have the android heritages, which again, this is the different sub-races. So you could be a ancient android, which is basically what I believe is what the Galarian androids basically are. An ancient civilization created your body, and your autonomy is forged from obsolete technology that continues to function through a combination of enduring nanites and your willpower. In addition, choose from one of the following ancient android heritages. So this is like a sub heritage here. Artisan. Your body was originally designed to create works of art or complex tools or maintain advanced machinery. You become trained in crafting or another skill if you're already trained in crafting, and you gain specialty crafting skill feat in a specialty of your choice. Laborer. Your bodies adapt to enduring physical hardships or perform hard labor for long periods of time. You become trained in athletics, and you gain the Hefty Hauler skill feat. I love the Hefty Hauler skill feat. Polyglot. You were pre-programmed with a multitude of linguistic proficiencies, likely to act as a translator. You learn 2 new languages, which, as I was just saying, you should get a decent amount because you already have a high intelligence. Choose from the common languages and any uncommon languages you have access to. Takes sign or spoken in other languages. Select the multilingual feat. You learn 3 new languages instead of 2. And then the warrior. Your body was forged for combat, likely to function as a security officer or soldier. Your synthetic and organic components are optimized for battle, and you possess intrinsic tactical ability regardless of your current disposition. You're trained in all simple and martial weapons. So already, that's just the first sub-race, and there's already a lot going on there, so some cool stuff. Obviously, I would probably just pick warrior, because combat. Who needs to translate when, violence is the universal language across the entire universe, right? Artificial scion. Your body wasn't created in the image of a biological creature. A powerful artificial intelligence created you to interface with other machines. Your physiology is nearly identical to other androids, but uncanny details give away your non-standard origins. For example, you might have impossibly symmetrical features, extra fingers, or double pupils. You become trained in computers, and you gain the I do not know how to say that. Freaker skill feat? Oh, like that's in this playtest. I have no idea what the freaker skill feat does. Mod fanatic. You or your previous iterations have modified your body to be compatible with armor upgrades, enabling you to personally customize your body and its capabilities. Your body has 1 armor upgrade slot. You can install and uninstall armor upgrades into your upgrade slot using the install upgrade activity. Choose 1 common armor upgrade with an item level of 1 or less. You begin with the armor upgrade already installed in your upgrade slot. You don't need to pay the credits or purchase the starting upgrade. I'm pretty sure this relates to the runes, basically, but the Starfinder version of them. So basically, you can have. It sounds like you can start with +1 armor, unless it just means like non-plus kind of bonus, like stealthy. Like you can start with your armor just being stealthy or fortified. Probably not fortified, that's a high level thing, but you can have better armor. Networked. Your body was modified to network seamlessly with Ancestries, robots, and other technological beings from Abalon. I don't know what any of this shit means. You gain shortwave, allowing you to communicate wirelessly with any creature within 30 feet as long as they have shortwave or are a construct with a technological trait. This doesn't give any special access to their thoughts or program to communicate no more information than normal speech would. You can attempt computer checks to hack systems and thievery checks to disable device or pick a lock on technological devices at a range of 30 feet. So basically, this is technology telepathy. You can't read their thoughts, but you can basically telepathically talk to other computers within 30 feet of you. But you also get to disable device or pick a lock on stuff that's 30 feet away. So it's also a little bit of like technology telekinesis with the pick a lock and disable device. So that's pretty cool. We have really cool blue android with like flowers and vines going through it. This thing looks pretty awesome. And then also, I don't want to say a less awesome android here, but a less awesome android here as well. Renewed android. Many souls have inhabited your synthetic body before you, and you might incorporate a number into your name to honor them. You might know your body's history and strive towards a goal bequeathed to you by a departed soul, We might seek to unravel the mystery of a forgotten legacy. Muscle memory hints at your body's past, and people you've never met strangely recognize your face. The first time in a day that you lose the dying condition, you don't gain a wounded condition to match. That's really good. You become trained in the skill of your choice that has the recall knowledge action, and you gain the dubious knowledge skill feat. That's actually pretty good. And usually I would just go for the most combat focused one, but actually that one's actually pretty good too, actually. So a lot of really cool subclasses, subraces here. I don't know how much the mod fanatic is good or not. I need to. It doesn't tell me, and I don't know what the freaker skill feat does. So this one's not that interesting. And mod fanatic, I don't have enough info on. Network is cool for flavor, and if you're a rogue, it could be really good. But the reneweds are actually better than I would have expected. And then obviously the ancient android has a lot of stuff going on. The renewed is interesting because there's a lot of, in the fantasy version, there's lots of races where it's like, oh, the spirits of your ancestors like guide you and help you. But even in Starfinder, like the androids have a very similar version of that. So that's interesting. I would not have expected that in Starfinder. So that's cool how they flavor that. There is the Android Ancestry feats. Let's go through these rather quickly. I don't want to spend forever on each one, but we'll just kind of do a quick run through. Android lore, most species will get this. Races. Ancestries. Cleansing subroutine. You have nanites in your body. They help you get rid of harmful chemicals. So this is very similar to like dwarves and other ancestries that have resistance to poison. So that's pretty cool. Emotionless. You get a bonus to saving throws against emotions and fear effects. That's very apt and appropriate. Initial compartment. Basically, you have a compartment where you can carry some light objects in. It probably allows you to sneak in some weapons and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool. Memory recovery. During your daily preparations, you can tap into these archived memories and become trained in a skill of your choice. Yeah, we see this a lot in Pathfinder 2 as well. Not really a fan of this kind of stuff, but I'm sure some people like it. Nanite Surge, frequency once per hour. Trigger, you attempt a skill check requiring 3 actions or fewer. You stimulate your nanites, forcing your body to temporarily increase its efficiency. You gain a +2 status bonus to the triggering skill check. In addition, your circuitry glows, lighting a 10-foot ammunition with dim light for 1 round. So probably not good if you want to make a stealth check, because then it'll be glowing. But everything else, that's pretty cool. If you want to be like the rogue android, and you do this like networked one, and then you want to pick a lock, you can do this to get a bonus to it. So that's pretty cool. That's a cool first level ancestry feat. I mentioned before that they have low light vision up here, but we have a feat to give them dark vision if you want to upgrade that, so that's cool. And quickened processor. You can quickly identify your surroundings, use your information to your advantage while in the midst of danger. You get a +1 circumstance bonus perception checks for initiative rolls. Always love more initiative. And a +2 circumstance bonus to piloting checks for initiative rolls. So if you're piloting a ship and you get into ship combat, you'd probably roll piloting for your initiative check. Very interesting. Finally, the last first level feat, Radiant Circuitry. Your biological circuitry emits light like a torch, casting a bright light in a 20-foot radius. Again, don't be stealth and sneaking when you take this action again or knocked unconscious. So basically, you get the light cantrip. Pretty cool for first level stuff. I mean, again, everyone's going to be first level at some point, so you will get people might not get to 17th level to see those feats, but everyone will get a first level feat, so there's some cool stuff here to really set the androids apart. But most people will reach 5th level, hopefully, if your campaign doesn't end super quickly. So, 5th level stuff. Advanced Targeting System. You can cast Sure Strike, which is the new remaster version of True Strike, as a first rank arcane spell once per day. So that's cool. You get True Strike, Sure Strike, once per day. That's pretty cool. Machine Saboteur. Destructive nanites at disruptor systems. When you roll a critical hit against a creature with a tech trait, the target becomes Glitching 1. Glitching was a thing that was in the Pathfinder, the first playtest. New condition glitching. Basically, it's kind of like confused in a way where they can act messed up or stunned, so that's pretty cool. So you can glitch out computers. Nanite Shroud, frequency once per day, 2 actions. Your nanites fly out of your body, swarming around you in a cloud. You become concealed for a number of rounds equal to half your level. Can't use the concealment to hide or sneak. While it's active, you can't use other feats that require the use of your nanites. It's not really clear what does and doesn't, because there's no tag for nanites. So you just need to kind of know if things use nanites or not. I hope they kind of fix that. This is just a playtest, so hopefully there should be a nanite tag. Otherwise, you got to read the description to find out if sign uses your nanites or not. But otherwise, still cool. You get to give yourself concealment. Protective subroutine. Prerequisites. Nanite Surge. That was the one where you can give yourself a bonus to your triggering skill check. So if you have that at first level, at 5th level, you can take the protective subroutine. Which again, your nanites augment your defense. You choose to activate Nanite Surge when you attempt a saving throw instead of when you attempt a skill check to get a +2 status bonus. So, if someone throws a fireball and you need to make your reflex save, you can use this reaction once per hour to get a +2 to that reflex save. That's cool. If at 9th level you want to then take the Nanite Shroud, you would not be able to do this and this at the same time because they both use your nanites. Yeah, hopefully they make a keyword for nanites. And that's all the 5th level ones, those 4. Let's get to 9th level. Internal respirator. Basically, because you're an android, you can hold your breath longer. Breathable air. I don't know how much it will come up in Starfinder now. I don't know how much it'll get jettisoned out into the vacuum of space. It'll be thrown underwater. Oh, I mean, I guess you could just be on a spaceship and the oxygen could leak out. I don't know. Probably not that useful, but it might come up. Defensive subroutine. Okay, so this is another extension of the Nanite Surge. Nanite Surge, +2 bonus to triggering skill check. Protective subroutine, +2 status bonus to triggering saving throw. We go down the Nanite route. This one gives you attack roll. +1 bonus, though, not +2. So, the Nanite Surge, +2 status bonus to skill checks. Protective, +2 status bonus to a saving throw. This is all reactions used. This one you can use your reaction to get a +1 status bonus to a triggering attack roll as well. Pretty cool feat tree. Repair module. Android, concentrate, frequency once per day, 1 action. You heal. You get fast healing, equal to half your level for 1 minute. And again, you can't use other feats that require your nanites. I like this, though. Who doesn't like healing? Healing is great. Let's get to 13th level. We got 3 feats here. Consistent Surge. Prerequisites, the Nanite Surge again. So instead of being once per hour, you can do all that stuff every 10 minutes, which again could be +2 skills, +2 saves, or +1 attack if you've taken all the nanite-related stuff beforehand. Revivification Protocol, free action, frequency once per day, trigger. You have the dying condition and are about to attempt a recovery check. Yeah, so this doesn't need to be a reaction. This is just a free action during your turn, because during your turn you'd attempt a recovery check. Your nanites are programmed to automatically revive you. You're restored to 1 hit point. Lose the dying and unconscious condition and connect normally on this turn. You gain or increase the wound condition in normal when losing the dying condition this way. Once per day. So once per day, you get to just get back up from dying. That is awesome. I love that. That's cool. And it's only 13th level. Like, yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, I mean, the 10 minutes opposed to an hour is good, but man, I think this would definitely be very tempting to get. And the last one, synthetic speech. You can speak with computers. 5th rank arcane, man, that seems like a high level spell. Yeah, forget that. That one sucks. This one's cool, but Revivification Protocol, amazing. We got 2 17th level feats. I know sometimes the Ancestries there's just 1 17th level. We got 2. So the two that we got is Memory Matrix, Android Fortune. You refuse to surrender your autonomy and erected mental bulwarks and technological protocols to safeguard your mind as well as your memories. Whenever you critically fail a will save against a spell or effect that would give you the confused or controlled condition, you count it as a failure instead. If you would such return confused or controlled, you can immediately attempt a DC 5 flat check. On a success, you fight that mental condition, becoming paralyzed until the end of your turn, rather than acting against your will. If you roll a 20 on this flat check, you immediately end the confused or controlled condition. Lots of reading there, but it is hard to control you or make you confused. Does not protect against the glitching, unless the glitching includes being confused or controlled. But I'm just overlooking into stuff. Cool. I don't know how much that would come up. I don't know how much will saves come up in Starfinder. I feel like it'd be a little bit less. I mean, there's spells in Starfinder, but I feel like will saves in general would come up a little bit less. I mean, maybe there's more control android, control machine kind of stuff, so maybe charm person monster is not as uncommon, especially if you're an android. I don't think this comes up very much, but it sounds cool at least. But the other form, the other feat, nanite form, android concentrate polymorph, frequency once per day. Oh, this already sounds cool. You discorporate into a swarm of nanites for up to 1 minute or until you spend a single action to return to your normal shape. You become huge, gain the swarm trait, and gain a fly speed of 40 feet. As a swarm, you have the following characteristics. You're immune to grapple, prone, or restrained condition. You have weakness 5 to area and splash damage. Not great. You occupy the same space as all other creatures and do not and must do so to use your damaging ability. Speaking of which, as a 2-action activity, you can deal 10 die 6 acid damage to all creatures sharing your space. Basic reflex save with a DC equal to your class DC or spell DC, whichever is higher. You can't speak, cast spells, use manipulated actions requiring your hands. Just your hands? Wait, I guess you can still... No, you can't speak either. Activate items or make any strikes with your normal body. You don't gain the Swarm Mind ability, so you're still affected normally by mental effects. That's cool. I like the ability to turn it into a swarm. I don't know about 17th level. It's a little high for that ability to be like cool. I feel like 17th level, it's not that cool, but it is cool overall. But I think most likely you would, I think the kind of optimal route is you take all these nanite related stuff, except 13th level, you take the Revivification Protocol, and then at 17th level, instead of these two, you take the Consistent Surge, or vice versa. Maybe you swap those two around. And you ignore the 17th level feats in favor of the a second 13th level feat. But that's just me. Make your androids however you want. So that is the android. So before moving on to the Vesk, overall thoughts about the android. Um, I was going to compare them to the Pathfinder Android to kind of see what the differences are, but this is kind of went on long enough, so probably not. They have mostly the same base stuff. I think their feats are pretty different here. Yeah, their feats are not as advanced. They have some similar feats, but not as many. Definitely, they lean a little more into the They have the Revivification Protocol in Pathfinder as well, so that's cool. But yeah, a little more technology focused on the Starfinder version. So yeah, I like them a lot. I actually think, as I said, there's definitely, besides just being a warrior, there's definitely some stuff here where you could go into a rogue build for the android and be a hacker of machines, which is pretty cool. And then like the nanite surge stuff is pretty cool. Um, yeah, I like them a lot. I think this is a cool ancestry to be in Starfinder. Let us move on to the Vesk. Might try to go through this just a little bit faster since the Android took a longer than I was expecting it to. But let's start off not with the description, but with the art here. just because we know what an android looks like. Most people probably don't know what a Vesk looks like. I did not before looking at this, but we got these kind of muscly brute lizard space aliens here. So kind of lizard folks on steroids with lots of kind of technology and military might behind them. Let's learn a little bit about them. You might relish the chance to prove yourself in combat against worthy opponents, have a strong sense of duty and honor, surprise your companions with tenderness and emotional outbursts in private. Others probably respect and fear your brutal reputation but appreciate your strength as an ally, mistake your stoicism for heartlessness, fear facing you in battle. They're 7 feet tall, they're muscular. I like how they got the different colored scales and stuff, bony beards, shades of green, but can also display vibrant colorization. They adapted technological weapons early in their history, but they retained the brutal claws and teeth of natural predators. Um, they're very organized. Organized and militaristic. I think they're pretty cool. I'm definitely a fan of space lizards, and I would definitely be up for playing one of these. But what do they get? 10 hit points, so that's higher than most Ancestries, so they're tough. Medium. Only 20 feet. I really don't like getting a speed penalty. They are slow lizards. I don't like that, but whatever. Attribute boosts strength and constitution. So yeah, these are definitely barbarians, warriors, fighters, that kind of thing. They're definitely uh, not the mental kind of species. As such, their attribute flaw is wisdom. Never like to take a pounding to wisdom, but okay. Common, Vesk, regional language. Traits, humanoid Vesk, and they have low light vision. Moving on to the heritages. Here we're a little bit more simple. So, Wander Vesk. You come from a line of Vesk who were constantly on the move. Your speed increases by 5 feet. So I'm picking this one. I don't care what the rest of these are. I don't like 20-foot speeds. It's just too slow. You need that 25-foot speed. So let's skip the rest of these. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's look at the rest of these. Night Stalker. You're adept to living in the darkness. Instead of low light vision, you have dark vision. Forget that. Taking the speed. Plated, your scales count as medium armor. They grant some armor bonuses. You can etch armor runes on your scales, but you can't install armor upgrades. Yeah, seems bad. You're one of the notable Vesks born with psychic talents. I like this one. I modified themselves with occult rituals, gaining venomous thoughts that can manifest in any future progeny. You can cast Daze as a cult innate cantrip at will. Cantrip is heightened to a spell rank equal to half your level round up. You get a +1 circumstance bonus to occultism checks and recall knowledge about psychic traditions and philosophies. I like this one a lot. This is very cool. If I don't want the speed and maybe I'm doing kind of a ranged sniper kind of Vesk, this seems cool as a backup. If I don't want to target AC, I can target their will instead with Daze. That's very cool. Warblood Vesk. You come from a bloodline of renowned warriors who have honed their bodies over centuries to become lethal weapons. You gain the brutal autonomy ancestry feat twice. I have no idea what that does, so skipping past that. Wave Crested Vesk. You come from a world of warm seas and primal magic. Cause your body to develop soft scales, a wide head, and frilled gill stalks. You gain a swim speed of 20 feet. And you gain the amphibious trait. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, probably not that useful. I like the Venom Thought. I know people don't like Daze very much, but I like Daze. But otherwise, the speed one. Just gotta have that 25-foot speed. All right, let's look at feats. Yeah, a lot of first level feats. At least it looks like a lot. Armor Ace, you've learned through trial and painful error how to make the most out of your armor, deflecting damage from explosions and similar effects. Armor you wear gains the bulwark trait. When you're wearing armor that already has the bulwark trait, increase its modifier to reflex saves to avoiding damage effects granted by that armor to +4 rather than +3. Special you can if you have the plated Vesk, this counts for it. It's okay. That's more armor's good. Bathe in blood. You've spent most of your life on the battlefield and you know how to inflict vicious, bloody wounds upon your enemies. You gain a +1 status bonus to any persistent bleed damage you deal. That is cool. You can spend a 1 action activity during your turn to roll a DC 10 flat check to remove any persistent bleed damage you have. That's cool. I don't know how much persistent bleed damage will be in Starfinder, but I like that. Hey, brutal autonomy. I think this was okay, we get to find out what this does. What does the Warblood Vesk get twice? You're a natural predator who has trained to use part of your body as a weapon. When you select this feat, you gain one of the following unarmed attacks of your choice: claw, jaws, or tail. Each of these attacks is in the brawling weapon group. The claw does 1d6 slashing damage, has agile, finesse, unarmed, and the Vesk. I mean, they all have the unarmed and Vesk traits. So 1d6 slashing, agile, finesse, expected, good. Jaw 1d6 piercing, has grapple, probably not. Tail 1d6 has the sweep. I hate sweep. Trip, yeah, trip, grapple, I don't think are that great. Sweep is a worse version of agile. You're probably just taking the claw here if you take this. At 5th level, whenever you get a critical hit with one of these attacks, you get the critical specialization effect. Special, you can take this feat 3 times, each time selecting a different option. Yeah, I would never take the War Blood, because unless you're really building something to grapple or trip people, I think the jaws and the tail sucks, and you just want to take the claw. I don't know. Maybe if you're these guys are not known for dexterity, so they don't need the finesse. So if you're building a strength person, maybe you want to do a grapple build. Maybe tripping is part of your thing, but I don't know. I don't see it. Fearless. Kind of bonus to saving throws against fear. You get a critical success instead. Menacing Snarl. Free action, frequency once per hour. Trigger, you frighten a creature. Yeah, it would just be a free action. Okay. You snarl, hiss, shout, or otherwise verbally menace the triggering creature as you frighten them. Increase the value of the frightening condition by 1. That's cool. Once per hour, when you demoralize someone, you get to up their frightening condition. That's very cool, and it'd be cool to build a character kind of based around that. You gain the weapon familiarity. I don't know why I can't say that. What you would expect. 5th level feats, blood sense. You have a keen sense of smell capable of detecting bloody wounds at a distance. You gain blood sense as an imprecise smell sense with a range of 30 feet. This means that your sense of smell determines the location of a living creature that isn't at full hit points, though is still concealed. If you otherwise can't see it, creatures that don't have blood, such as constructs and oozes, can't be detected with your blood sense. I don't think I've ever even heard of imprecise blood sense kind of sense, so that's kind of cool. How many things are going to be constructs and oozes? This is Starfinder. I'm going to assume a lot of robots, so lots of constructs, and oozes are actually fairly common in like sci-fi aliens more than fantasy. So I feel like you're going to get screwed a lot trying to use this, but it sounds cool on paper at least. Um, I don't think it's better than the first level feats. Like if you take Bathe in Blood level 1, you get to 5th level, you might want to take Fearless or the Snarl or even the Claws, maybe. Probably not. But the Armor Ace is good too. So yeah, Blood Sense, neat. I don't think it comes up that much unless you're fighting a lot of concealed creatures, which maybe in Starfinder you do more of. I think there's a lot of people taking cover and hiding and stuff. Maybe more invisibility technology. So invisibility has more access, not just spellcasters. So maybe it's better than it looks. Command tactics. Whenever an ally selects you as the target of their attempt to follow the expert, I don't think we've tried to do follow the expert in a couple of our games. I feel like it's never quite worked or been that important. So, yeah, this is probably worthless. Sorry. And if you guys follow the expert a lot, then yeah, sure, take it. But Some god's claw requisites as a focus pull, and you worship this dude or gal. I'm not sure. Frequency once per day. Requirements: you're engaged in combat. I hope so. One action, you pray to the god. In the heat of battle, and it answers, you regain one focus point up to your usual maximum. One action once per day, regain a focus point. This is a very weird ability for a ancestry to have. There might be some builds that want to regain their focus points a little bit quicker, but I don't know what those builds are going to be. I don't know how much focus points are going to be used in Starfinder. I have no idea. Let's look at Tear Wound. You need Bathe in Blood to do it. Your most recent action was a critical success on a strike with a melee weapon. You tear your weapon out of your foe, leaving bloody, vicious wounds. This sounds awesome. I'm taking this feat already. I don't care what it does. That's just a great description. You deal 1d4 persistent bleed damage to your target, or 1d6 persistent bleed damage if you have a critical specialization for the weapon used in the triggering strike. You gain a item bonus to this bleed damage equal to the weapon's tracking bonus. This sounds amazing. It's not like a once per day. You just deal persistent bleed damage. This sounds phenomenal. I guess you need a critical success, and then it takes a whole action. So it is a little action economy heavy just to deal a little bit of persistent bleed damage, and you need to set up that critical, but that's probably better than taking another attack at -5 or -10. So I mean, that's pretty cool. Terrifying Bravado. Reaction. You critically succeed at a save against a fear effect, whose source was a creature, or a creature fails or critically fails a intimidation check to demoralize you. You laugh at the enemy's failed attempt to bully you, turning the tables on your foe with a display of terrifying bravado. You attempt an intimidation check to demoralize the triggering creature. This sounds awesome on paper. As a GM, I don't really. I feel that NPCs don't demoralize as much as PCs do. So, especially if you have this, yeah, I just sounds cool. I don't think it's ever going to come up. 9th level, Eager Combatant. Free action trigger. You roll athletics or intimidation for initiative. Shit, I don't think we've ever rolled athletics or intimidation for initiative. You stride into battle. You stride in a straight line directly towards the enemy. If you can find a way to get athletics for initiative or intimidation, sure, but I don't think that's ever coming up. One with the knight. This is the heritage that gives you dark vision, of course. You gain greater dark vision. Okay, again, I'm not sure how much that's going to come up. Opening roar, expert in intimidation. At the start of a combat encounter, if you're aware of your foes and you aren't attempting to sneak or hide, you can roll intimidation for your initiative and use the result to demoralize one foe within range. Additionally, if you have the battle cry feat, you can demoralize up to 2 creatures within 60 feet of you that you're aware of. But that's awesome. So I love battle cry. Battle cry is a lot of fun. This is a super battle cry. And then if you take this at 9th level and the 13th level feats suck, then you can take the eager combatant to combo with the opening roar. It's a shame those are the same level feat. I wish one of these was a 5th level feat and then the other was 9th. This be too good as a 5th level feat though, and this be kind of boring to take as a 5th level feat without the send up. That's cool though. I don't like the non-bow of them being the same level, but it's still cool. Plate deflection. This is you have either the plated one or the armor ace. You master either using your own plate scales or worn armor to absorb devastating strikes. You gain the plate deflection reaction. Once per day, foe hits you with a critical hit. You deflect the attack to a heavily armored part of your body. You don't take double damage from the critical hit, but you still take any other effects. So negates the critical damage, still take any like persistent bleed damage or critical specialization effects. It's pretty cool. It's once per day. But I mean, when you use it, I think you're going to really want to use it. Would I take it over the opening roar? Definitely not. This is way cooler. But If you don't have good intimidation, which is very likely, this is pretty cool. I think it's gonna be cool every now and then. It's not gonna come up very often. I mean, you suffer a lot of criticals in Pathfinder, but yeah, once per day is rough. It's just like once per 10 minutes, but that'd be too good, I'm sure. Probably not taking this, but it's neat. All right, let's get the 13th level. Ad advantageous assault. When your enemy is weakened, you press the attack. When you successfully strike a creature that has the frightened or persistent bleed condition, which we've already seen, we have multiple ways to give people frightened and persistent bleeding, so this works with a lot of the other feats. Where was I? With a melee or range weapon, you gain a circumstance bonus to the damage roll, equal the number of weapon damage dice of the weapon used for the strike. This, I'm leaning towards this just being okay. I mean, I love extra damage, but it's really not going to be that much extra. I like it. It's cool. It just seems okay, though. More damage is more damage, though. Blood Letter, Tear the Wound. So this is the one where you take the extra action to give them the persistent bleed damage after you score a critical hit. Oh, you use it as a free action rather than a single. Yes, let's go. Let's tear some wounds. That sounds amazing. All right, I am totally down to make just someone that just tears people up with blades and just causes a bunch of persistent bleed damage and then cries when they fight like androids. Oh, I like this. Okay, call down the saints. You have a deep reverence for the Vesk battle saints, inspired to join their ranks one day. You can cast Spiritual Guardian as a 5th rank divine innate spell once per day. When you do, Spiritual Guardian appears as a divine echo of one of the Vesk battle saints. At 15th level, the rank increases to 7th rank. That sounds really good. Spiritual Guardians, if it's the spell I'm thinking of, it's a pretty good spell. Um, the other two sound pretty cool though. I'm not sure I'd be taking the Spiritual Guardians, but definitely if you're more of like, I guess you could do range stuff with this stuff too. So, well, not the Bloodletter. That one needs to be melee. But I guess if you're a spellcaster though, this might be an extra nice spell to take. Overcome Shame. Free action once per 10 minutes. You critically fail a melee or range strike against the enemy. I like where this is going. You clear your mind of distractions and focus on your foe, determined to overcome the shame of your dishonorable failure, lest it forever blemish your reputation. They were not playing around with the flavor descriptions for these feats, man. Whoever wrote this was, they really enjoy their job. The next time you attempt to strike the triggering creature before the end of your current turn, using the same weapon you used for the triggering strike, so no like 2-weapon shenanigans, or I don't know, switching guns, whatever. You roll the attack, roll twice, and use the higher result. Oh yeah, this is a fortune effect. I didn't see fortune. If the attack roll fails, you become overwhelmed with shame, gaining the off guard condition. That's stupid. You hopefully should not miss the second attack, which you have the fortune on. I guess if you do miss it, you deserve to gain off guard. Um, I know some people that if they miss that bonus fortune effect, they're gonna be flipping the table if they gain off guard. There's gonna be some rage quits going on here. Uh, this is pretty cool though. You do need to critically fail a attack, and no one likes to critically fail, so like no one likes to take the insurance against themselves critically failing. They'd rather just take something to ensure that their first attack hits. But this is cool. It is going to be the next attack, so it is going to have a multiple attack penalty. So realistically speaking, I think this is probably pretty bad. It sounds cool though. It sounds very cool. I think it's probably pretty bad. Probably the weakest of the 13th level feats, to be honest. I think even Call Down the Sage, you're probably taking that over this. And both the Bloodletter and the Advantageous Assault, they require more setup, but they're really cool. All right, I mentioned how a lot of Ancestries might just have one 17th level feat. This one has 4, so we're going in a lot of different directions here. So we have the Battle Saint. You have ascended to the rank of Battle Saint and expect to become a true divine savant. of the deity mentioned before. Upon your death, you can cast Blessed, Boundary, and Divine Decree as 7th rank divine innate spells once per day. For a second, I thought I read this as you can only cast these spells when you die. That would be extra bad. I don't know what these spells do. I'm not going to look them up because this video is long, but I'm going to assume that they do something cool. Bolstered by battle. Free action. Frequency once per hour. Trigger. You deal the killing blow to an enemy. God, I love that text. That sounds great. You live for combat and find the threat of battle and the thrill of victory invigorating. You gain a number of temporary hit points equal to your level, which is a 17th level feat. So you're getting at least 17 when you first pick this up. Temporary hit points last until the end of the current battle or 1 minute, whenever shorter. I love the flavor. Sounds super cool. I'm not sure 17 to 20 temporary hit points are going to matter at that level. And then again, temporary hit points can keep you alive. This can save you from going down. It's just for a 17th level feat that does not feel like a lot of temporary hit points. You can do it once per hour, so maybe every battle if you have enough time between battles, but probably not. You might need to go 2, 3 battles before you can do this again. It's not hard to trigger though. Yeah. Would this be broken if it was like twice your level? Or like your level plus your con? That wouldn't be a lot that much more, but still, I just feel like 17 to 20 temporary hit points at 17th level. Like I've played at 17th to 20th level, and that you get a lot of hit points by that point. You're in the 200s. Like I guess it's okay. Improve blood sense. Yeah, I don't care. 60 feet. Yeah, whatever. Regenerative blood. This is very good. So this is only for the wave crested one. That's the swim speed one, which seemed pretty bad. But if you take the swim speed at 17th level, you can cast Regenerate as a 7th rank primal innate spell twice per day. A lot of this stuff is once per day, so it's kind of cool that it's twice per day. You gotta take one of the weakest heritages unless you're doing a space sailing pirate uh, sci-fi adventure on a water world pirate adventure kind of thing, and take the water one. I don't. I think this is pretty bad. Um, I mean, regenerate twice per day is cool, but by 17th level, there's other stuff going on. So terrible. Um, Probably okay. Underwhelming. And kind of okay, but underwhelming. So yeah, all the 17th level feats are pretty weak. You might just be going back. I mean, 13th level had some really good ones. You might just be going down and taking one of those again. Again, this advantageous assault and the blood letter, they work well together. Um, just like the eager combatant and the opening roar work well together. So I think there'd be a lot of taking lower level feats for this ancestry. But overall, looks really cool. I'm excited to play a space lizard and as well to maybe make some android characters. Can't really go wrong with that. Hopefully, you have enjoyed this read through of the Starfinder Second Edition Field Test number 3. Leave in the comments which of these ancestries you're more excited for, the androids versus the space lizards, the Vesk, or if you're a fan of Starfinder First Edition, let me know what ancestries that you're very excited to come with all those over 100 ancestries. I'm sure there's some other ones that you're very looking forward to seeing the stats for that you hope are coming out next. So leave your preference between these two. Let me know if I'm wrong about any of these feats and you think they're way better or worse than they look. Or just let me know what kind of characters you want to make of these two ancestries we have here. And of course, if there's any future ancestries that you're looking forward to. All right, thanks for listening to this. Have a great day.